So welcome to today's topic. So we'll be sharing insights into EIT postgraduate programs. So this will be presented by our higher education manager, Emma Hart, and then alongside with one of our student ambassador of 2024, Hermanus, who is currently based in Namibia. Just the common questions. Yes, we will be providing you with the slides and the recording of this session. So for those who are joining us for the first time, I'm just going to quickly give you a high-level overview about who we are or what we do at EIT. So at EIT, we specialize in engineering. As you can see here, we specialize mainly in, we do professional certificates. Those are micro-credential courses for 3 months. We have diplomas, advanced diplomas, undergraduate, graduate certificates, bachelor's and master's programs, and then our highest level of qualification is Doctor of Engineering. We are industry orientated, and I believe that most of you might agree with me when I say time to time the industry itself it's changing, technology is changing. So at EIT we always ensure that our resources and our materials are up to date, so that when you graduate you still are relevant to the industry itself. Um, we are recognized just like any higher education provider in Australia. So we also have some of our programs that are recognized under 3 international accords, where you get our advanced diplomas under Dublin, our bachelor's degree Sydney, and our master's programs under Washington. We source our lectures from various parts of the globe, and we also use a very unique method in terms of delivering our courses through webinars, interactive webinars, remote labs, and simulations. Yeah, so you can just go on our website to just learn more about EIT. I'm just going to quickly check in our link, so later you can just go through just to learn more about what we do. So I'm now going to hand things over to Emma, and do enjoy the sessions. Thanks, Emma. Cheers.
Thanks, Barry. Excuse me. Thank you to everyone for joining. So it's a terrible picture on here. I'm about to complain about who stole this picture from somewhere. So basically, as Barry has said, I'm the higher education manager here at EIT. I've worked in education for a long time, originally as a teacher, not teaching engineering, however. And my main focus is to really look at our programs, make sure that we have quality programs, looking at new programs to introduce, and constantly improving the student experience for our students here on the campus, as well as our online students. So I am based in our brand new campus in Perth. So what we will do, I will run through sort of information on the programs and the details, but then also we do have one of our lovely student ambassadors. So as it says here, we have our students who are past students, current students, who have spent a lot of time with EIT, and so we bring these guys along. So thank you to Hermanus for coming along to talk about their experience. It's very different to hearing from my experience as a higher education manager to what the students have to say. So it's really valuable listening to students' take on the courses and how they experienced it and what they enjoyed. So there is good old Hermanus, who I'll hand over to as we progress through the presentation. Okay, so as Barry was talking about, we do have a variety of programs. Obviously, I'm going to focus specifically on our higher education programs. And what you see here is some of the, sorry, excuse me, some of, I suppose, the rankings of where the institute sits specifically within Australia. So you see here number 1 for quality education in the undergraduate engineering programs. This is a survey that is conducted for current students, past students, and students who are in Australia as well as students overseas. This happens every year, or there are a high number of institutes within Australia who participate, and then the feedback that comes through tells us where exactly we are ranking from what students have said. So it's really positive. As you see, we're in the top 3 in these areas, which is really exciting and continues to be so. Okay, so what I'm going to do is run through some of our postgraduate programs. So I'll go through each point and each program, give a little bit information before Hermanas will give you some information on the courses that he's done and his experience. So our first postgraduate course you'll see here is our graduate certificates. These are all online, so we don't have our graduate certificates on campus. They all run online. So you've got the streams here. So you've got the civil engineering, industrial automation, mechanical, and of course safety, risk, reliability as well. And we also should have the electrical, which is missed out. This structure is 4 units, so you complete 4 units in total. Now, all of these units that you complete are actually also part of the diploma and also part of the master's degrees as well. So what normally happens is you'll study 2 units in your first term, 2 units in your second term. It runs usually over 12 study weeks, so a little bit different to some universities. So a lot of universities have semesters, and we do have programs where we are running semesters. However, our online graduate certificates, diplomas, and masters run in terms. So it's what we would call a part-time intensive. So instead of doing 4 units over a longer period of time, you do 2 units over 12 weeks. So it can be quite intensive, but you are only focusing specifically on those 2 units. So you could do 2 in your first term, 2 in your second term. You do have a maximum of 3 years to complete. So as a lot of people are working alongside these, and we understand that's the case. And people have huge projects on at work, so it's not that easy to study. I have studied alongside working, and it can be really difficult. So there is a maximum of 3 years to complete, so you don't have to do it all within the 2 terms. So for example, if you said, look, I can commit to only 1 unit each term, and there are 4 terms, say, in the year, you could complete in a year. If you needed to take a term off because you had a huge project at work to do, you're able to do so, as long as you complete within those 3 years. And you see down the right hand side what's called the AQF qualifications. So this is the Australian quality framework. So these are all the different levels that we have. So these graduate certificates are classed as a level 8, as you see. So bachelor honours degree, graduate certificates, graduate diplomas. And as we move on, we'll talk about level 9 and then, of course, level 10. I see a question in there, what's the difference between a graduate diploma and an advanced diploma? The graduate diplomas, which I'll talk about next, are in what's called a higher education space. So it is a different type of qualification. The advanced diploma is what's called a vocational qualification and is based more within competencies, whereas the graduate certificate is that higher education and the diploma higher education that can lead you then into these next steps. And the next question I just saw, can I register for masters after the graduate certificate? Yes, you can. So as we talk about these programs, I've said you've got the graduate certificate that is 4 units. These 4 units are all part of the diploma and the masters. So what a lot of our students do is they commence with the graduate certificate. They do their 4 units. They're happy, they like to study, they're back into being able to study. They then decide perhaps to go to the diploma, which is the next slide. So again, with the diploma, it's now 8 units of the course. 4 of these units are also the units in the graduate certificate. So for example, if you did the graduate certificate and then you wanted to go into the diploma, the 4 units that you have completed will be credited into the diploma, meaning you would only need to then complete 4 units as you've already completed 4. Again, it works very similar. There are the 8 units, 2 units in each term, but again, it does depend if you're working, if you want to be more flexible, if you would like to do, say, 1 unit. Same thing applies in the diploma, but if you have done the graduate certificate in the same discipline, you can pass across to go into the diploma. However, Sarah, in answer to your question, you don't have to do the diploma. You don't have to do the certificate, then the diploma, then the masters. You could do your graduate certificate and then you could move into the masters, and the 4 units that you will have completed in that graduate certificate again would be credited into the masters. So some people simply like to do it slowly and do 4 units, 4 units. So 4 units a graduate certificate, do an extra 4 units, have the diploma, and then decide whether they want to then move the masters. But if you did the graduate certificate and said, yeah, I'd actually like to apply for the masters, you are able to do so, and the units that you have completed in that certificate would transfer across, so you would get credit for those units. So as mentioned, going through, you'll see here essentially the diploma does make up the first year of the related master's degree. Bear in mind that if you are studying in the graduate diploma for civil, but then of course you wanted to go into mechanical, of course that's not a straight transfer across. It does depend on the units as well. But if you are going from a graduate certificate or a graduate diploma into civil and going into civil again, the units will transfer across. Again, you may not want to do the certificate, you may want to start on the diploma. Which of course you're able to do so, and then again transfer into the masters if needed. So they're the 2 different types of certificate and diploma. Okay, and that moves us on to our Master of Engineering. So for our masters, we run these online, but we also have them on campus here in Perth, but we also have a campus in Melbourne where we do have our master's degrees as well. So as I say, you've got here more now 13 units in total. You do also have workshops to complete and there's work experience. For an online structure, you would continue with the 2 units each term over those 8 terms. If you were studying on campus, that changes to semesters and you would be doing 4 units each semester. Your thesis takes place in the final 2 terms or would be the final semester. As mentioned, there are workshops and work experience units required. So these are what we call 0 credit units. But they are compulsory that you need to complete. Now, for a lot of our students, especially our online students, a lot are working, and so what they are able to do is what we call RPL. the workshops and the the work experience. So basically, we would give you recognition of prior learning. There is a process to go through. There is a submission of a range of documents and information to basically show that you have done lots of hands-on experience and you don't need to do these workshops. If you do not have any work experience in the specific area, then this is where these workshops do need to be completed. As Barry mentioned earlier, we are very hands-on. So it is not simply sitting and learning theory in the classroom. There are a lot of hands-on and practical elements to our courses, and these workshops and the work experience are part of that. And again, as mentioned with the levels, you'll see this is now level 9 for our master's degrees. Again, time to complete, same thing for a lot of students who are working and may not be able to commit to specific units all the time. There is a maximum of 5 years to complete, so you could take your time if needed through this, and we would work with you as to what's required and what support you need. So moving on to our highest level, we do have what's called a Professional Doctor of Engineering, also known informally as the DEng program. So as it states on there, it's specifically designed for experienced professionals to make significant and contribution to further professional practice. So this professional doctorate does consist of coursework and a thesis as well. A little bit different to someone who's doing a PhD, because a professional doctorate does focus on applying the research. So a lot of the time in a PhD is doing the research, but a professional doctorate does include applying research to these practical problems, formulating solutions, designing effective professional practices, and so on. So just a little bit different for those who are thinking of a PhD. This program is available online and on campus. It's 3 years full-time, but of course part-time is available. So you can go up to, if you've done part-time, you can go up to 6 years of getting through this program. There's 120 credit points, 32 of the coursework, but there are also a high number of research credit points that you need to complete. There's coursework and of course then your doctoral dissertation. The admissions process is quite stringent, so it does consist of academic panel interviews to make sure that you are suitable for this program. But we do have a variety of students currently on the program. We've got quite a few online, but we do also have some students here on our Perth campus as well as on our Melbourne campus, slowly working through the Doctor of Engineering. So a really exciting program at a very high level. So just a quick one with the structure. What we have, as I said, in the program is a combination of coursework and then those research units as well. You will see some of them that have little stars there. So the DEng 604, 801, 803, these are coursework units, but we are able to switch them out with electives from the master's program. This does have to be approved by our Deputy Dean. But some students do choose to look at doing some master's units instead that are very specific to the area that they are focusing on. So it is possible to switch the units out, but this is in consultation with your supervisors as well as with the Deputy Dean. So a little extra thing that I wanted to talk about is what we call learning support. So at EIT, we have what we call learning support officers. So in your units that you will be studying, you of course will have your lecturer, but you will also have a support officer who will help with administration, make sure that you know what to do for your assessments. And if you've got any questions that are not technical and not specific to the content, then your learning support officer is there to help. So they make sure you've got all the information for your tutorials. They make sure you know your assessment dates. If there's a problem and you need an extension for your assessment, they are there to help with that. They work through the grades with you, and they help you with anything on the learning management system. So we use Moodle as our learning management system, and your learning support officer will walk you through any of these issues. So you would have a learning support officer for each of your units. So it's a little bit like having I often say a personal assistant for the unit to help you through. So when you do have questions, if there's something you don't understand, then you can always contact your learning support officer. And in the higher education team, we have learning support officers around the globe. So obviously we have some that are based here in Perth, some that are in our Melbourne campus. We have some on further east coast of Australia in Brisbane, but we also have learning support offices in South Africa and also in the UK. So depending on obviously the time zone, if you're contacting, there is generally someone available to try and help you. We also have student support services. So we do run a lot of different workshops for support, things such as ranging from time management, understanding how to plan. And for some students, it's been a long time since they have studied. And I know when I went back to study, it had been some time. So getting back into being able to study, we have a lot of sessions that will help you with that. There's also health well-being. If you're having any issues, we do have a student services team to be able to talk to you and make sure you're okay. And as I said, academic related resources. We also, from this semester, have introduced an additional English program. Now, it's not an English program in the normal sense of teaching you English. A lot of you have first language English, but what it is technical English. So some of the skills in this English course help you with being able to write reports, being able to present in a specific way, and it's very specific to engineers and the technical information that you need. So this is a free course that all students are able to access, and students are doing so and using it to assist them when they've got a presentation coming up and they haven't done a presentation for a long time. So there are modules within this course where you can do some practice, you can learn the best techniques. It is a full online program and you're able to self-serve, so you can go to it at any point in time. But the aim of it is there to be able to help and support and help you as you're going through your assessments. So when you have a report coming up, you're not really sure how to do it, this course will give you all the information to help, and you'll be able to do a lot of practice as well. So another free resource that we do have. So the software that we do use throughout our course, as I've mentioned, we do have Moodle. This is where all your unit materials are, your assessments, your grades. We have what's called Big Blue Button, very similar to what we're using now, and this where you would have your live tutorial sessions if you're online. We also have what's called Iris, our invigilation software. So if you're doing an exam, instead of in the old-fashioned sense where you would go to a room and you would all sit individually, you're able to do this from home. And then we have a software that will basically watch what's happening as you are doing that exam. We have Remote Labs that has a variety of engineering software for assessment. So your lecturers will give you specific labs that you'll need to complete. So you'll be able to work those. And again, all remote, and you'll be able to do it in the comfort of your own home. We have the Microsoft Office that you'll have full access to, so you will get an EIT student email account, but you'll have access to the Microsoft package enabled in order to help you do all of your assessments. And lastly, there you see what's called Paradigm. This is our new student management system where, again, your invoices, your contact payment information, you'd get information on your units, that you'll be able to access everything from as well. But at the end of the day, as you see on there on the right, you control your learning we work with you, we support you through it, and we help you as you progress through, but you get to control how that works. As I said, if you need more flexibility, you can only do one unit, we're able to accommodate that. So our support team would work with you on any issues that you have to come up with a plan that would work specifically for you guys. Okay, so the entry requirements, again, because there's so many different courses, we won't go through all the entry requirements, but they are all on the website. With the fees as well, you will see that the fees are also there on the website that give you all the information for the courses. Generally to be paid beginning of each study period. You can pay by credit card. There can be monthly if you are struggling to pay for all of the units in one hit, so you are able to arrange installments. For any Australian citizens, we also do have what's called fee help, which is the government help. And again, there are some partial scholarships that you are able to apply for, and the link is also there. And thank you, Berry, for posting the website link where you can find all of the courses, the entry requirements, and any of those fees. Okay, then I'm going to pass along to our fantastic ambassador. So, Hermanus, I'm going to pass over to you to explain your journey.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depends on where you are. This is Hermanus speaking. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Everyone, yeah, yes. All right, perfect. Thank you, Emma. Yes, so for the new or for the future students, I would just like to take this opportunity to share my experience. I've been with EIT for about 7 years as a student, of course a good one. So I started off my my advanced diploma back in 2017, and then in 2019 I've completed my advanced diploma in industrial automation. Then I had I think a 2-month break, and then I started off with my bachelor's of science, and then I've completed that in December 2022. In January 2023 I started off with my master's, also specialized in industrial automation, and I'm like a couple of months away to complete that program. So far it has been very exciting, and I'm learning a lot. And yeah, so if we go on to the next slide. So yeah, so I think the question is, why did I choose this program that I'm currently studying? So if I reflect back, it's something that started off, as when I was a little boy. I was always fascinated about remote control cars, how radios work, because I always used to open them and understand the dynamics inside, how it actually works, how does the signal work and stuff. So that, of course, got me into big trouble with my dad at times, because I would then fiddle with his stuff, and then I would break that, and then I would just leave it, for him to check it out later and find the surprise that it's not working anymore. And then later, when I finished off high school, I studied process instruments, vocational level, and then I could understand, how some of the stuff actually work. Of course, I became a master in what I did, in process instrument, and then later I moved up to work with PLCs on a pretty much on a vocational level. So of course I could do a lot of things, but the issue that I had was that I was faced with gaps in knowledge. Because for me, I think what's important is that if you do something, you need to understand how it actually comes together, and how it works in the background. So then I've done intensive research, University of South Africa, University of Cape Town, and I've looked at a few options, to close that gap, that knowledge gap. And then I stumbled across EIT, and I think it just drawn me in, because when I engaged with them, the support was excellent, the feedback was good. I could talk to them about the flexibility and a lot of things.
Hi, Jimenez. Okay, apologies, everyone. I think we just lost him there. Let me see if we can try to get him back. Thanks. He will be joining us shortly. He had some connection issues. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, Barry. Can you hear me?
Yes, much better. Thanks. Thanks for coming back. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I have some internet issues here. I
Okay.
cannot see the slides.
Just a sec. Can you just refresh your machine? The slide's still up.
Okay, let me just quickly do that. I'm so sorry about this.
Can you see the slides? Hi, Jimenez. Can you hear the slide? Can you see the slide?
Very unfortunately not. I cannot see.
Okay. I'm just gonna take it out and bring it back again, and then I'll leave it where you left off. Just let me know.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
No, not yet. Let me just quickly open that in a different browser. I think the browser is having some issues.
Okay.
Okay, Barry, what I will do is
Can you just drop
continue
me?
to.
Okay. I was gonna say just drop me your email on the other side, then I will just send you the copy, and then you can present.
Yeah, I have it available here.
Okay.
So what I will do is, yeah, I think I'm on the student experience, my experience with EIT so far. So
Yes.
I'll continue to talk about that. I'll leave my camera off for now. I think
Okay.
there's a bandwidth issue on my end.
Okay.
So
just let me know when you want to move.
Everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
I'll tell you to.
Sure.
All right, so my experience with EIT is so far completely, absolutely amazing. The information that I found, while I was studying with EIT, it's completely relevant. It's current content, and you can actually use the information that you learn within the programs and immediately apply them in industry, and solve engineering issues. The practical simulations that we're doing in the lab, to mention a few softwares, is MATLAB, Codesys, Python, Anacondas, which talks to machine learning and stuff that specifically that we use within our industry. It's it's there in the remote lab. You can actually dial in there. You can do all your simulations within the labs, and then you can actually use that models. You can actually build meaningful models that you can bring back to your workplace and implement. The one thing that I've also discovered with EIT is that all the lecturers are professional engineers, so they're also practicing in industry. So, and I think this is a plus point for me when I've done my research back then. You guys can relate. It's not just academics that have all theory and teach you a lot of theory, but you can also talk about specific issues in the industry and find solutions to that. I think I also touched on the support system, which I steer them is like a personal assistant. So whenever you have challenges with your studies, you reach out to them and they formulate a plan for you immediately. The turnaround time, when you engage them is, for me, it was always like 12 hours. I would send off email depending on where they are. Then I would get a response back and then we would immediately discuss this, to see if we can find a solution. All right, next slide, please. Okay, what has EIT taught you? So I think the engineer that I am today, all credit goes to EIT. Throughout the journey, I think I got so rich with knowledge and exposure and different skills and a lot of things. So I think differently about things. The knowledge that I've gained throughout the course, it's off the charts. It's something that I'm completely confident when I go into any discussion, because I can back up that fact that I had back then. When I had this knowledge gap when I was still, pretty much an artisan, and now I can actually back things up, with engineering principles. I would call it that. My passion for work is I'm very passionate about my education, of course, and also with my work. I'm extremely results orientated. So if I do something, I want to do it 100%. We don't settle for something less than that. Over the 7 years, I've built a strong habit of commitment towards my studies, and of course also towards my work. It also boosted my self-belief in myself as an individual, because if you get the results back, after you've studied very hard and did a very intense journey, you feel at ease. Okay, next slide, please. How do you see the program benefiting your professional career? Of course, it upgraded my skills. So I have a lot of, I'm armed now with a lot of skills. My knowledge is enhanced. It improved my complex and critical thinking abilities as well. Because when one look at an engineering problem, you don't just go in and settle for the first solution. You look at different solutions and different approaches, and then it also triggers something in your mind about people work with a solution. So you factor in the human safety. You take care of the environment. So this is the stuff that one if one come up with a solution, and this is how it actually impacted my career and how it benefited my career. Throughout, after I've studied, I've got a couple of promotions, so I'm just excelling all the way to the top, because I can back this up with a good track record of good stuff that I've done in industry, and I can prove it with academic qualifications. So of course, yes, we just going higher up. Okay, Next slide, please, on the highlights. Okay, so just like Emma mentioned about the International Engineering Accords, this is the first thing that I've checked when I was doing the research of qualifications, because of course you don't want to study a qualification that that is not meaningful at the end of the day. So EIT, they give you a qualification that's that's internationally recognized. I'm about to finish my master's, and it went by so fast. The 7 years. I can't really believe that it's already done. One thing that I want to mention to everyone on the call is that the way EIT developed all their courses, and I think Emma touched on that, was especially on postgrad level, is that if you have a specific knowledge gap, whether it's in electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, you can actually sign up for graduate certificate, and then you can choose the subjects. It's completely tailor made for you to, if you want to learn something specific about a specific topic that it interests you, you can actually just sign up, and then get that qualification within 6 months. You learn 4 units over that 6 months. So of course, as a professional engineer, one need to keep your knowledge up to date, and I can think of no other place than EIT, because they have all the tailored programs and they always update the literature and the units that they do have. So my next steps is that I'm finishing off with my master's, of course. So I'm contemplating whether I should go for Doctor of Engineering, maybe next year, or would I rather do another specialized master's like electrical engineering or mechanical engineering. So I have not gotten that answer yet. So as time progresses, I'm sure I would come up with something. And also, if you think about it, where your career would take you next. So I think that's important, and that is why I just reflected back now that it's a lifelong thing. You can decide what you want to do, and then you move on. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks very much, Hermanus, for such an insightful information you have shared with our potential students. Hopefully, we'll see them in the future. And again, credit to my colleague, Emma Hart. Thanks very much for sharing an insightful information with our students as well. I'm just going to quickly put up a link again to so you can just see all our programs that we are having at EIT. So just before we close, I wanted to check maybe if we have any questions about our programs. You can just put one in the chat box. All right, thanks very much. And then once again, I'm just going to put our email address that you can get in touch with us. Please, if you have any suggestions, if you have any feedback that you want to share, please feel free to send us an email at webinars@eit.edu.au. I'm just going to post our email address here so you can get in touch with us. So oh, there's a questions from Peter. So Peter, our fees, they vary in terms of whether you're doing online or on campus, and also based on which program you'll be taking, whether master's, bachelor's, graduate certificate, or graduate diploma. So yeah, if you go on our website, select the specific course that you are interested in, and then it should have an option where you have to select your home country, and then it will give you information in terms of how much you will be paying. But if you have any further questions, you can always just email us, and then we are happy to assist you. Hi, Dumeleng. Thanks for that. Yeah, as Emma mentioned, so advanced diploma is one of our VET courses, and then if you look at our graduate diploma, it falls under higher education, and then you'll see that also our advanced diplomas falls under AQF. It's AQF level 6, whereas our graduate diploma it's AQF level 8. So I would say graduate certificate, graduate diploma, it's higher than an advanced diploma. And also the durations as well. Any more questions? All right, I'm just going to check with my colleague Emma. Did you want to share any last point, perhaps?
I would just like to say a huge thank you to everyone, obviously, for attending, but also to Hermanus for sharing his journey and his thoughts on the programs, which is, as I said, it's when you have Barry or I telling you about the programs, it's one thing, but hearing it firsthand from a student who has gone through these programs, how they experienced it, is very valuable. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Hermanus for taking the time of his busy day. I know you're a very busy man, and I really appreciate you joining and giving those insights. So yeah, just wanted to finish with a thank you.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks very much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you everyone for having me on the call.
Such a pleasure, sir. There's a last question from Patrick. Can I study graduate diploma with an advanced diploma? So with an advanced diploma, if you can look at the entry criteria for a graduate diploma, you need to have a bachelor's degree at least to be eligible for the program. All right. On that case, ladies and gents, I just want to say thank you very much, and then we're looking forward to have you in our next webinar. Have a great day. Cheers.